stop emailing and pick up the dang phone.
Yeah.
And connect with people. Even if you can't see them in person, just pick up the phone.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that's lost in this era too of texting and Teams messaging and all of that. Just pick up the phone and call somebody. Yeah. It's okay.
Are you ready to elevate your leadership skills in the electronics manufacturing industry? Join Sannah Vinding on a transformative journey as she unlocks the key to exceptional leadership in this dynamic field. Discover invaluable strategies, emerging trends, and best practices through expert perspectives and insightful interviews. This podcast is your ultimate resource for gaining a competitive edge, staying ahead of the curve, and shaping the future. Tune in now and unlock the secrets to leadership success in the world of electronics manufacturing.
Welcome to Mind Innovation Leadership Podcast, empowering leadership excellence in the manufacturing industry. I'm your host, Sannah Vinding, and thanks for listening in today. Today's guest is Jennifer Townsend. She's a business developer, relationship builder, and a marketing professional. Jennifer currently hosts the position of Distribution Account Manager at Phoenix Contact USA, where she's focused on driving sales and managing relationships. Previously, she worked as a marketing and supplier relationship manager at Carlton-based company, where she successfully executed marketing campaigns and fostering strong partnerships. With her growth-oriented mindset and expertise in building meaningful connections, Jennifer is a valuable asset in any business setting. So Jennifer, welcome. This has been like forever, right? For us, like canceling booking. You are here, I'm here, and I'm happy.
We are finally here, Sannah. Thank you so much. It has been quite a busy time lately. I was reading this weekend, though, to stop saying busy. I'm so busy.
Yeah.
Start saying my life is full.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
So your life has been very full. I'm sure my life has been very full, but we've found time now.
Now we connected. Okay, I will stop use the word busy. I like that one. Already got one takeaway from the podcast already.
Okay.
I always like to start, with passion, right? And here, with the guests that's on the podcast to say, what's your passion within the industry? And so what's your passion?
My passion within the industry or within life really is building relationships and maintaining relationships through a long time period. That's the really great thing about being in this industry. You're going to run across the people you met 10 years ago again, if they haven't retired yet. If they're still in the industry, it's one of those you always heard, if you get in this industry, you never get out. And it's kind of true, right? Because it's so specialized. And then you develop friendships that you work together in business relationships. You might work together 5 years ago, and then you pick up again 10 years from now. So really, my passion is those long-term relationships. And then also, meeting new people and weaving them into the life that is business as well.
I like that. And it's right? The industry is that tiny. Again, it's huge, but it's also tiny because you meet again, even if you change position or something like that. Right. So what kind of challenges over the last couple of years? Because now we're like more in a hybrid world, and we're all still adjusting to it. So what kind of challenges have you seen or opportunities have you seen?
I saw a great opportunity when I took my new role about a year and a half ago to get out and work with people that I'd worked for before. So I took on a role where I was managing 18 or 19 distributors across the U.S., regional distributors for Phoenix Contact. And it was a great opportunity to touch base with people I'd worked with before in the industry and use those connections. I would say most of last year I was on the road. What do we call it? A road warrior. So it was out connecting or reconnecting with those I've met in the past, and then getting to know the people I hadn't met before. So it's on the road a lot. This year, probably the biggest challenge, at least here in the second half of the year, has been sitting here in this office versus being on the road. I certainly love being home. My dog is down here. I can look out my window. I just moved 2 weeks ago, so it's super nice to be in this wonderful new home. I do miss with teams, though, the ability to actually give you a hug or, share a coffee or share a glass of wine or really see you in person. So to me, I think the past few years have made it a little challenging in that more is digital than is in person, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And you need to find that new balance, right?
Right.
So how often do you recommend that you will actually go, on the road, if you want to say it, right? Because at a certain time you can be at that have that many meeting on Teams or on
Yeah,
Zoom, right? But at a certain time
absolutely.
it's good to meet people as well.
It really is, especially if you're new in a role. I think it's really important to certainly have your home life and be at home
Yeah.
at least 50% of the time.
Yeah.
But maybe travel 30%. Maybe ideally I would be gone on the road for a couple nights a week, every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And I would be connecting in person with the people I'm supporting all over the country. And it might be the Dallas for 1 or 2 nights and head to Atlanta and get up to the Northeast somewhere. But I would say, at minimum, though, at least once a month to get out and connect with people.
Yeah. What about specific skill set, within your role that you are, right? What's
Yeah,
crucial for have to build new relationship and actually be successful as you are?
sure, sure. I think that, the number one rule is being responsive.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that I sold my home recently, bought a new home. I was working with real estate agents, originally selling by owner, but then an agent got involved. So I got one sort of involved. And long story short, I said, responsive should be my middle name, and I need it to be yours as well.
Yeah.
So I would say being responsive to people is number one, being kind, being courteous, and just, staying in contact,
Yeah.
not going dark. Um, Certainly not going to build a relationship if you go dark with people.
Yeah. No, I like that. To be responsive is good. I think sometimes you can also drown a little bit in emails. So to be responsive, you need to find your balance. But
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I have a former mentor where I worked before, and he is a mentor for so many people. So I couldn't say
yeah,
he's just mine, but he would always say, stop emailing and pick up the dang phone,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and connect with people. Even if you can't see them in person, just pick up the phone.
yeah,
Yeah. And I think sometimes that's lost in this era too of texting and Teams messaging and all of
yeah.
that. Just pick up the phone and call
Go,
somebody.
yeah.
It's
And,
okay.
and there's so many platforms, right? As well,
Right.
all the digital platforms to make sure you
Yes.
you actually stay connected. Um,
Right.
Yeah, but I think picking up the phone is also you need to make sure that they know your phone number, right? So they will pick it up and not just saying I don't know that number.
That's true. That's
Yeah,
true. But especially if you already have a relationship and you're going
yeah,
back and forth, if you've gone back and forth, what, a couple different emails, then
yeah,
then maybe set up a meeting, set up a Teams meeting, or pick up the phone and talk
yeah,
something through.
yeah. I like
Yeah.
that. In the electronic industry, it's just evolving rapidly, right? So I wanted to hear, how do you stay up to date and actually educate yourself?
Oh, absolutely. So number one, LinkedIn is awesome.
Yeah,
Stay connected with what others are doing, know what you're doing, know what your competitors are doing, know what the distributors you work with or the other manufacturers, know what they're involved in. I would also say, there are so many opportunities to learn internally at the company where I work now. I'm a part of what's called leadership cohort,
yeah,
and it is they call it emerging leaders, but I don't know, people that they see with long range possibilities within the company. And so we're doing everything from disc analysis that are personality to entrepreneurship to
nice.
any number of things. And we meet,
Yeah,
a couple times a month. And it's people who are involved in different parts of our business all over the country. So I'm learning from them and how they work best and what works and what doesn't for them. And it's just a real safe environment to share best practices.
yeah. I like that. I really like that you have something internal as well that can
Mhm.
build and actually get everybody a little bit closer to each other as well, right?
Right, even via
Because
Teams, right?
yeah,
So
via
they
Teams.
have
Yeah,
it at the company headquarters for people who are local, and
yeah,
then they have it for people who are remote as well.
yeah. No, I really
Right.
like that because I think it's touching on the company culture, right? as well.
Right.
How do you can have all these projects that you work on, but sometimes you need to go a little bit behind or be deeper. And if you can have this kind of educational journey together,
Right.
because you
Right.
learn together, I think that gives
Yes.
you some kind of bonding as well.
It definitely does. Yes.
Yeah.
And we break up into small groups. So it's not just the 20 of us, but then you'll have a group of 3 or 4 people where you can really focus in
Yeah.
and help one another there.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So challenges. I want to go back to, even though you said, pick up that phone, right?
Right.
Any skills that you had, if you look at yourself, right? A little bit reflection here.
Mhm.
How have you changed over the last couple of years?
I would say that I was told by another mentor where I work now, even, and we've been talking about relationships, Anna,
Yeah.
but that relationships can only take you so far.
Yeah.
And she was right. I have had to really get more educated on our reporting and looking at data and trends and I would say I've changed in that I've almost been forced to do this, but I'm learning now how to read the data and
Yeah.
how to understand it and help us grow our business by using that data.
Yeah. That's good. That's good,
Yeah.
right? I think it's
Yeah.
also, I always have, always ask questions, because the industry, right, and every organization is changing every day, right? If it's a
Sure.
growing organization,
Absolutely.
or if you have new tools. So I ask the question. And back to, I think you're never alone, right? There's always something where you're saying, oh, maybe I know 80%, but let me ask that question so I can be even
Oh,
better and get to
absolutely. Never
90%, right?
assume you know, or I'm
Yeah,
always going to learn from someone else. There
yeah,
are so many different ways to accomplish the same goal.
yeah,
So learning from others who are successful, and then learning from people who maybe it just didn't work out, and we learn from
yeah,
them too. So I think
yeah.
learning and keeping that eagerness to learn is really
To learn.
important.
Yeah. I use the YouTube a lot. And it's so funny because there's
Yeah.
like the shorts, right? Which is the small video that's less than a minute.
Yes.
And and I'm learning how to use PowerPoint because I'm still learning PowerPoint.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it's just funny how I can sit there and I'm like, oh, you can do that. But it's just
Yes.
that 60 seconds, right, of new knowledge where I'm like, oh, that's really clever. I should think
So
about
you
that next
like
time.
that? Okay.
I
Okay.
do
Yeah. I
like,
should use
yeah,
YouTube more. I
yeah,
should.
yeah. But I'm so
Okay.
visual. So I really like that somebody is actually explaining. You can still go
Yes.
and look at the notes and saying, oh, this is where you should go, right? If it goes too fast or too slow, right? You
Hmm.
can figure out where to go. But I
Right.
just love YouTube. If there's anything where I get stuck, using some of the digital software that I'm using, I go in there and I look it up. And if I don't like the first person, I find another one, and then I make sure to subscribe as well, because then go back and
That's
say,
so
oh,
smart.
that's how you make the video, or that's how you make that kind of
See,
things
that's a great
flying.
takeaway for me. Thank you for
Oh,
that.
yeah, no. It's good that we can actually help each other and educate each other.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Yes.
But what
Yes.
about the new talent, right? Because we need so much new talent into this industry. If it's young or older, it's fine, right? But there's a lot of open roles right now. So what's some of the challenges you see, especially if we should talk about the younger talent coming in?
I would say the biggest challenge is that people, and when I was young talent, I didn't know what manufacturing, I mean, I kind of knew what manufacturing was, but I certainly didn't know what distribution was. So
Yeah,
I think some of the things that organizations are doing to bring in apprentice level people to learn, or bring in interns, or larger organizations like the ECIA, I know they have brought in young people just starting out in their careers and brought
yeah,
them out to the big trade show EBS that's every May,
yeah,
and really trying to capture them, and educate them and get them excited,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, and it's so important, because I think you can. when you talk to somebody, right, and now that we're chatting as well here, right, we're getting excited, right, and we can see, if it's automation, right, or if it's aerospace, or if it's anything robotics, right, we can see how
Right.
exciting it is. But somebody coming outside in and don't know how everything is connected, they can be like, yeah, what's actually that that great about
Sure,
it.
sure. I
Um,
would say if you have ever perfected the elevator pitch for what we do for a living, I would love to hear it because it's hard to explain to those
yeah,
not in our business, what do we do,
yeah,
right? Uh-huh.
that's a good one. Maybe
Uh-huh.
that should be my, the last question, right? Give me the
Right.
elevator pitch.
Right.
People will
Yeah.
freeze, like, no.
Right. Yeah.
No, it is what it is. So okay, okay, let's talk about younger talent. So if somebody's starting within your organization, what kind of advice do you want to give them?
Oh, I would say just be open to learning and realize that right out of college, you probably don't know everything. I know that probably most of us thought we did, we
Yeah,
didn't, and realize that people who've been in the industry a while have a lot to share and do as much as you can to learn
yeah,
and step outside of your comfort zone as much as you can, particularly ask to shadow people if your role allows that.
yeah,
Let's say you're hired for a marketing position in a company, but you don't know what you even sell.
yeah,
So ask to spend a week in the warehouse or at least a couple days in the warehouse. Ask to speak a week with the inside sales call team or
yeah,
customer service team. Learn the different parts of the organization so you can be more valuable as a marketer. Because
yeah,
if you don't know what you're marketing or how it's done, then
yeah.
you're not going to do a good job in that role you're hired for, right?
Definitely. No, no, no. When I got my first job out of college, I was on the production floor. I was actually in the production as well, doing sheet
Right.
metal,
Awesome.
trying
Awesome.
stuff there.
Wow.
Yeah, no, but it really helped. And then when I started as a design engineer. So when we were designing or developing these outdoor fixtures of light fixtures, we actually had to go down to the people who assembled them and put them in
Mhm.
the box and making sure that what you
Wow.
wrote actually you could do it.
That's fabulous.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
remember a first job right out of college, and I was working for a water company that also did cable and electricity and all that. And I didn't know how to read a water meter, but
yeah,
I was trying to explain how to do it in a
yeah.
newsletter back when we
Uh-oh.
did those newsletters all the
Yeah,
time. And I put the numbers on wrong or something because I hadn't gone and actually sat there with someone and read a meter, you
yeah,
know? So I'm saying this from experience that I've learned that you've got to kind of get your hands dirty and learn what you're talking about before you
yeah,
can talk about it, right?
yeah. No, it's
Yeah,
definitely, yeah. And ask the questions, even though you can't, if you're shy or anything else, just jump out and ask the questions, right? It will
sure.
make
Don't
life
be scared.
easier. Yeah,
Right,
in the long run.
right.
So
True.
I want to tell you a bit about again, with the whole, relationships, right? If
Hmm.
there's anyone where you're like getting some resistant, right? Because not everybody is maybe outgoing, or maybe not everybody is picking up that phone, or maybe are not responsive, as you just said. So
Right.
what do you do when you meet that kind of personality?
I think you just look for your commonality with anyone. I think that we all can find something in common with every single person.
Yeah,
And you find out what are their care about, and then you can build a relationship together. So it is just determining and also determining how do they like to communicate.
yeah,
So some people might not like talking on the phone at all, or they
yeah,
might not like their face being on the screen.
yeah,
So if they really prefer email or prefer text or however they want to communicate, learning with each key person how to best communicate with that person because we're all individual.
yeah. I like that. Do you have any success story you can share where you actually turned
Yeah, I
somebody
mean,
around?
I would say that, there's someone I've worked with in the past that I knew that he was going to be super busy at a certain time every month doing some reporting.
Yeah,
So if I needed any help with anything or any special assistance, I knew he was going to be tied up during those times. And it was not a good idea to get in touch during those times.
Yeah.
And I watched other people get in touch during those times and it not work out.
Yeah.
So, just knowing people's schedules and when's their stressful time, not to bother them, and just being considerate, I think, is the biggest thing. Being considerate of their time and their preferences.
I like that. So being good at that observation, right? And reading when it's a good time, when it's not a good time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's thank you for sharing. I think that's
Absolutely.
a really good insight. So looking back, if you want to give yourself like an advice like 10 years ago, what kind of advice would that be?
Wow. It was probably never be scared to put your name in the hat. Don't think that you're not qualified, because you're just as qualified as anyone else to do a job. And don't be surprised if you get that job that you asked for.
Yeah.
And don't even be surprised if there's not a job, but you still ask for a job and then create one.
Yeah.
Step out of your comfort zone and ask for what you want, because all someone can say is yes. Many times they can say no, but they also can say yes, and not being scared to ask.
I like that. Yeah. Always ask, right?
Right.
You never know what
for the order.
Yeah.
Right. In sales, you have to ask for the order, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so in life, you have to say, hey, would you like to go have some lunch sometime to a possible new friend or a new neighbor? What would you think about? Do you like to walk? I love to walk. Do you want to go on a walk sometime? Let me know if you do. Not being pestersome, but just putting yourself out there in life and business.
Yeah.
It's amazing what you can get back.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. And it opens up new doors, right? Or new opportunities or new relationships, just to loop back on our whole theme here for today. But that's I really like that. So if somebody, of the listeners wants to reach out to you, how can they connect with you?
They can find me on LinkedIn. I do check messages on there. I'm at Jennifer Townsend on LinkedIn, so they can reach out there, and I'd be happy to connect. And
awesome.
I look forward to building relationships with new people and furthering relationships with those I've already been working with, and growing business together. Right.
That's it's all about. So I'll make sure to put your LinkedIn on the show notes and also on the episode page on mindinnovation.com. So Jennifer, thank you so much for being here today. I loved it. I think I learned, not to say that I'm busy more, not to say that I'm busy, but to say my life is full. I think that's just a really good takeaway. And also with the whole responsiveness, make sure that you're there. And be the person you are and ask the questions. And it can open up so many doors.
Awesome. Thank you so much for inviting me, Sannah. It was great to see you, and I really appreciate the time and everyone listening to the podcast, and look forward to hearing more of your podcasts going forward.
If you like Mind Innovation, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share the show wherever you get your podcast. You can follow Sannah Vinding and Mind Innovation on Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And make sure to check out mindinnovation.com. Stay curious and keep learning. See you next time.